Hey, welcome back to Learning Self-Reliance. This is round 2 of 5 unusual prep items. All right, in case you didn't see the last video, this video series is about 5 unusual items that I don't see people putting back or making videos about. And hopefully these are some things that you're going to need for yourself or that'll be easily tradable. So the first one is salt. Now, I'm kidding. Start off the last video with a joke. I figured it'd be fun to start off the next video with a joke. All right, what I meant to say by salt is huge bags of it. This is a 25-pound bag of salt. I'm sure we got plenty of people putting away a couple pounds of salt or something like that, but I don't see anybody making videos about having huge bags of salt. This is 25 pounds. Got this from Costco a few years ago. This costs $3.50 for a whole 25-pound bag. Not $3.50 per pound, $3.50 for this entire huge bag of salt. This is non-iodized salt. So this little guy right here actually has got a little one-up on this bag of salt here. Is it has the iodized salt, which is a nutrient that your body needs that it doesn't really get very often. So iodized salt is a good source of that. But this salt here is going to be for flavoring things. You can bet people have set back hundreds of pounds of beans, but they don't have hundreds of pounds of salt. And this salt is going to be vital for flavoring those beans. You can bet once people run out of the dozen of these that they've set back, they're going to be wishing they'd set back this. I mean, this costs as much as this whole thing here. So this salt is going to last you a long time. Besides its cooking and eating uses, you can also do things like drying out things like jerky or whole hanks of ham or something like that. You can use it for tanning hides and leather and things like that. There are a million uses for salt, and I really think it's one of the things that we take for granted in today's modern society. I went on a camping trip one time down to Goblin Valley, and we forgot to bring a little salt shaker, and we had some eggs in the morning, and they were just pathetic without salt. Then the next day we had some of our group show up. They brought some salt, made the eggs infinitely better, taste way, way better, more palatable. Just by adding a little, just half a teaspoon of this stuff will make everything taste better. So you need to set back large quantities of this. I went to the store, bought this for $3.50, bought 10 bags of this. So I've got hundreds of pounds of salt for $35. Super cheap to set back now, but later is going to be extremely difficult to get a hold of. Put this back now. It'll be worth it for yourself, for making everything you eat palatable, but also for other people for trade and for tanning hides and anything else, the hundreds of uses that salt has. All right, now that I got salt all over my area here. Next, unusual prep is True Fuel. This is engineered fuel plus oil. So this right here is gasoline, but it's pre-mixed for like a chainsaw. So I've got a chainsaw as one of my vital prep items. I watch a lot of shows, and anybody out in the bush has got themselves a chainsaw and a gun. Those are like the two things I see them have. They got themselves a rifle and a chainsaw. Keeping chainsaw fueled is a bit difficult these days because of the ethanol, and this stuff is ethanol free. You can see right here. So it's got no ethanol in it. It's just regular old gasoline with oil added in, pre-mixed 50-to-1 ratio here for chainsaws. So you've got your oil already in here. You just pour it right in there. And I know what you're thinking. You're like, dude, I can just buy gas, some ethanol free. It's difficult to find sometimes, but I can find some ethanol free or maybe some additive to fix that. This is too expensive to set back for large amounts of use or something like that. But here's why I set this stuff back. It's got a 5-year shelf life. 5. That's huge when it comes to fuel. Typically with gasoline, you're going to get 6 months to a year of good fuel, and maybe you can push it after that with some additives and things like that. But this is 5 years right off the shelf, ready to go. It's also got this nice little spout here, so you can pour it easily right into your chainsaw. That's really nice. This thing is mostly empty. I've been using it, but this thing, these are awesome here. They've also got other varieties for different types of small engines. They don't have anything for cars, obviously. You can buy like a 5-gallon thing of this and use that as like a contractor sized thing. if you're going to be doing huge amounts of chainsaw or something like that, this is probably a bit too expensive for you, and you're going to want to go with something a bit larger. But for somebody like me, who's not going to be taking down tons and tons of trees or something like that, setting back a flat of these, like 6 or so of these things here, is a lot of chainsaw fuel for my own personal use for cleaning up debris or something. If a tree falls over or something like that, this is plenty enough fuel for me to set back. And it lasts 5 years, ethanol free, ready to use in your 2-stroke engine. All right, next one is lead shot. Let me pop the zip tie off of this here. I love some lead shot. Not only is it useful for the obvious shotgun usage, but lead shot like this is extremely difficult to make. And you can get it in specific size. This is a 7.5 size here. Let me grab a little bit of this lead shot here. And this stuff is lead, you know, it's dangerous, so don't eat this. But make sure to wash your hands. I'm going to be washing my hands after this. This is so difficult to engineer by yourself. These tiny little beads. So you can reload a shotgun shell or something like that with this, or you can muzzle load a 12 gauge. That's pretty fun. I've done that. You can muzzle load a 12 gauge with this stuff and use scavenge powder and stuff like that as well. But trying to make this yourself is incredibly difficult. It's a bit easier to take like wheel weights or something like that and cast those into bullets for your rifle or your shotgun or something like that. But going from lead to lead shot is extremely difficult, but going from lead shot to bullets is really easy. So put some of this back now. You can put this back instead of just some straight up lead. You can buy whole lead chunks from the store that you can cast into bullets if you want, but lead shot is, I think, in my opinion, almost impossible to make such quality by yourself. But it's so easy to put back now, and you can get pounds and pounds of this stuff. And you know, this is a lot. I mean, right here, this is quite a good amount here. I mean, I probably need a little bit more than this, and I've got a whole shotgun load here. So there's hundreds of rounds worth of shotgun in here, and probably hundreds more, and hundreds of bullets and stuff as well. So this stuff, I think, is vital. I'll make sure to put the price up here for you guys. I can't remember this off the top of my head, but this stuff's not too bad. It is shooting related, which some of the prices can go up pretty high on that, but lead shot, super valuable. Fourth unusual prep is boxed milk. All right, I've seen people setting back dry milk, powdered milk, and things like that, but a lot of those don't have the fats that are originally in this milk, which is pretty vital to have in here. So this has still got its original fat content on here, and this does come in 2% and whole milk here, so you can see the difference in the fat there, little difference there. And my wife and I use this stuff actually a surprising amount. We don't go shopping on Sunday and stuff like that because it's the Sabbath. So milk seems to be that one thing that always goes bad the day you need it, and it's been sitting there for a month. So this stuff is nice because it has a year-long shelf life. So I've got this probably about March or so of this year. So I've still got another year left on this and this one over here as well. So these things will last for a year on your shelf and be usable for baking and things like that. I wouldn't use this for like cereal or something like that. It does have a different taste to it. It is just milk. I mean, you can look at the ingredients here. We got milk and some vitamins, right? So it's nothing crazy, but isn't quite right for things like just drinking it straight or doing something like cereal or something like that. This is useful for cooking and making bread or whatever other recipe you want to have this with. This is great for like things like a dessert, just as one of the ingredients, not the main flavor you're going for. But anyways, I picked these up from my local dollar store for $1 a piece. That's actually a really good deal in my opinion. It's fantastic. All right, last but not least is silica gel. So if anybody hasn't seen silica gel before, these are little beads here of silica that actually absorb moisture from the air or from anything they're touching. They pull the water out of it into themselves, and they actually change color. So these have a little bit of water in them. They're a little purple looking. Normally they're more blue, but let me show you a second bottle of this I've got here. So this stuff, you can see this like kind of pink here. This is fully saturated with water, and so the color ends up looking a little bit different here, right? So what's this stuff good for? This is good for putting in your gun safe or something like that, keeping things dry. So if you've got something like papers or something you don't want to get wet, or something like even like flour or food, as long as you put this in something so that the powder on this doesn't come off, because there's little bits of powder and stuff you can't quite see, little scrapes that have come off of this that'll get into the food that you don't want to eat. And trust me, you don't want to eat this thing. If you get them wet, they actually explode. But that's kind of funny to watch. One of the main reasons I like these is to save electronics. So if you get electronic wet, you can use these to save it. Let me show you. So here is a USB car charger here. So this guy, actually, I brought it out to a car and it fell out of my pocket into some snow and I lost it and I couldn't find it. It ended up getting run over. So that's what these scrapes are. This thing's actually got run over. It's really tough. I'm surprised. I actually really liked this charger. It's done a good job. But I found it in the spring and pulled it off of the cement outside in front of my house, and this thing was all wet. I took it inside and I put it inside of this silica gel here, and I just was careful to push it down like this so I didn't get any silica gel inside. Put it down a little bit, covered it, and left it for a couple weeks, and the silica gel around it turned pink like this, and it went from its regular blue color to pink as it pulled the moisture out and saved this. I plugged this in, works just fine. So if you've got some vital electronic preps, they're probably going to get wet and you're going to need to save them. You can do things like rice, but why ruin the food? You know, this stuff is reusable. So what I can do with this stuff here, these pink ones here, I'll just lay them out on a kind of a cookie sheet, put them in the oven at about 150 degrees for about an hour. They'll all turn, it'll drive off the moisture, they'll turn blue again, and they'll be usable all over again. So these things you can use multiple times, save your electronics, protect your food or something like that if you got them in a proper container. And these things are awesome. And they're not too expensive. You really don't need much, especially if you're saving some electronics. You really don't need a whole lot of this. But for food or something like that, this might be a bit overkill. But it's definitely a multi-use tool. All right, guys, hope you found today's video valuable. Make sure to set these things back if you found them useful. I found all of them to be very useful to me. I've got a second video lined up. I'm going to do 5 unusual preps, but a trade items edition. So hopefully some stuff that will be easy to trade off to other people. But that video is not up yet. I'll put a little preview of it over here on the corner, and I'll change that over to part 3 later, and you guys can click on that and see that video once I've uploaded it. But if it's not uploaded yet, go ahead and subscribe. I'll add a little subscribe button for you guys so you can subscribe and see some more future videos. Please leave any comments of anything, other suggestions, other unusual preps, any ideas this might have sparked for you guys. I'd love to learn from you guys and your preps that you set back to protect yourself and your family. Thanks for watching, and please remember to like and subscribe.